Hey guys, today I'm going to teach you how to make a seamless pattern or wallpaper as it's also called. And you're going to be using these in future projects as well as your pin tool portrait. You're going to put it behind your pin tool portrait. So let's get started. These are two modules that I created. They're called modules because they're one part of the pattern. That's what module means, one part. So let me show you how I made these. These I made with shapes, and I distorted my shapes and put them together. These I made with the paintbrush from the paintbrushes palettes. I'll show that to you here in a minute. Now let's get started with making these. So when you make these, you're making one little pattern. So with shapes, you can make it with shapes. So let me just show you how I did this. So I used, basically on that one, I just used the ellipse tool. And I distorted, let me give it some color, and I distorted my anchor points. So I clicked on that one, I converted it to a point, and then I kind of twisted it a little bit there. And then I just kept making those over and over again. I could just copy and paste it. So I could take that and copy it and paste it and rotate it. So I could rotate it, put it together, put one in there. And I could keep flipping it around and around. I keep doing that. This is just one of many ways I can do this. Let me copy and paste again. Flip it again. That looks like a pinwheel. All right, now I'm going to take this, what I have here, and I'm going to group it. Object, arrange, and object group. I'm going to group it. So now I have that. And now I could do something different. Let's make a circle. Put it somewhere about there. Change the color of it. Let's make it orange. And then I could duplicate that. I just copied 3 of them just then. So I've got this one. Put it up there and put this one up here. Put this one over here. I could do something like that. And then I want to make a big yellow one. Let me make this yellow. You know, I keep pulling up the color picker. I could also come up here, and change it that way too. So whichever way you feel comfortable in how you add this. I could also give it a gradient if I wanted to. But right now I'm just going to take that. Now I want it to go back behind. So remember, it's object and it's arrange, and I'm going to send it to the back so it's behind all of that. So maybe let's say that's it. That's what I'm doing. I could do more. I could play with effects. I could add an outer glow to that. Let me add an outer glow to that. In fact, I go to Effect, Stylize. I'm going to do an outer glow to that yellow. And I'm going to... do you see what's happening? Oh, let's give it a different color. I want to make it red and see what happens. Oh, see, it's got like a pink glow that's coming out the outside. And the opacity's down. Let me bring it up so you'll see it. I don't know. I don't know if I really like it. Well, maybe if I gave this let me go ahead and give this a gradient. I want yellow. Here again, I'm going to pull the picker up. It's easier. And I want an orange. With that, I want it to be radial. I don't know, it's something. I just wanted to play with that to show you that. So now let me show you how to make this a pattern. So I'm going to make sure I'm on my selection tool. I'm going to do this. Click on it like that. And then I'm going to go up to the word object, and I'm going to go down to pattern, and I'm going to make it as simple as that. Now that's going to be a pattern. This always comes up. That means it's going to add it to your swatches palette, and this is how you fill it in a shape. I'm going to say OK. And now I've got to look at this and decide what I want. Grid, right now it's too far apart. You see how it's 3 inches, so it's 3 inches apart here. I'm going to bring that closer. I want to make sure that this is my, so I don't have to do both of them. So I've got that chain linked. I'm going to change this to 1 inch. And, ooh, now that's too little. So let me change it back to 2 inches. And no, let's do 2.5. So that's the spacing in between. So that looks better. Okay, so now, do you see this is a grid? So a grid lines it up even both ways. There is also a brick row, which offsets it this way. And then there's a brick by column, which offsets it up and down. Whichever one you want to use, you might play around with them. There's a hexagon, and then that, it brought it closer, but you see how it looks? There's by column or by row. And here again, you could always change the width and the height from the separation there. I might take that height. Let's go 2.7. Oops, I said 27. Instead of 2.7. There we go. That's better. That's better. And I kind of like that. I think I'm going to stick with that one. So once, and then I can change where it says copies. That's in a row. How many do I want in a row? There's 9 in a row. That just means my row will be 9 across and 9 up and down because I've got it 9 by 9. Or here's 3 by 3, what it looks like. So you only have 3. 3, let me move this so you can actually see the 3 by 3. See, that's just 3, 3. I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to stick with the 9 by 9 because then it's a whole bunch of them. So you see that? So now, this is it. So once you get it to where you want it, then you're going to come up here and say done. And then now it's in your swatches palette. So it's over here in that swatches palette. Now to find that swatches palette, if it's not showing, then you come up here to window if you can't find it, and you go down to swatches. And there it is. There's the one that I just made. Also, these other two that I made are on here as well. So that's that one, and I want to show you how I did this one. I did this one with the paint brushes. So let me show you how I did that one, how to find that and how to do that one. So I'm going to go to my brushes palette, and I'm going to click right here in this line, and I go down to open brush palette, and I use these brushes called decorative and the elegant curl and flower brush. I like those because you get all these different looking brushes. Now you could tell this one, let me bring that up. These 3 were this. And then, well, actually this is a line. I use the line tool. That's in here where the line segment tool is. And it's the spiral tool. So that is the line tool. So you can use that too. You can use that. You can use a pen tool and make stuff. You can use shapes and make stuff. You can use paint brushes. You can use the pencil. Whatever you want to use to make your pattern and your design, you are free to use. But let me show you how these brushes work. So if I get on the paintbrush and I choose one of these so you can just see what they look like. Let me choose this one. Now the color of the brush is going to be this. It's the stroke, it's the outline, because it's just a brush. A brush and a pencil will always be that outline. So I've chosen that one. Now let me paint. And see it? There it is. That's actually kind of cool. Can you imagine trying to make something with that? I can rotate it. And then I can duplicate it, or I can, different things. Or maybe I just want to make some more. Let me make another one. It's a smaller one. See, it's a little bit shorter. I could change the color of that. So if I choose, come right here, and I can have a different color. So that's how you choose the colors of those. So you're going to make yourself a pattern. Now let me show you how it works. So I'm going to create a shape. Rectangle. Let me put a rectangle right here. I put a rectangle. And it is going, I don't want to outline. So it's the fill box. Make sure it's up front. And then you come to your swatches. And you remember, if your swatches aren't showing, I'm trying to get rid of this. The swatches are not showing. So go to Windows, Swatches. And I was trying to get rid of this. No, I just want the swatches. All right, I'm not doing very good. I just want the swatches. I didn't want all that attached to it. Well, here they are right here, in here, and I can't bring those up. I wanted to bring those up so I can show you. But whatever's right here, make sure that that is up top, and then I'm going to click here. And you can see now my rectangle is filled with that. They're kind of big. Maybe I don't want them that big. So if that happens to you and it's too big, I can come up here to, I want the scale of that. So I'm going to go to Object. I'm going to go to Transform and Scale. So I want the scale of my pattern. So make sure you've checked down here patterns, because if you don't check the pattern, it won't go smaller. And I want to make that smaller. Let me make it 30%. And see, they'll get smaller, but then I can make my rectangle bigger now. Oops. I should have held my Shift key. I'm going to try this over again, because that did not do what I wanted it to. So there's my rectangle. I want just the patterns to change scale. Just the pattern, not the box. There we go. I had to take that X off the transform objects. I just want the pattern to change. And then I say, okay, and now my patterns are smaller. So that's what I wanted to show you there. And then I also want to show you how I get it to go behind and how I can change it once I get it back there. So I'm going to take this one right here. I've already made the pattern. I've already made it a pattern. So let me make my rectangle. And I don't want that one. I want this other pattern, which I have right here. It is right there. You see that? I managed to stretch it, and I did not want to stretch it, but let me fix it so it's not all stretched. And now I'm going to change the scale of this. I think it's too far apart, so I'm going to come back to it. So I brought this back up. When I double clicked on the pattern in my swatches, I brought this back up. So I'm going to change, see it's 2.5. I don't want it that. I want it to be, let's do 1.5. I want it closer together. Oop, too close. Let's do 2. There we go. There we go. So you can play with it. And you see how this one's a different color than how the other one was? And that's because if I want something different, if I want to change these colors, I can right now. If I change, let me click on this one. Let's say I want, now these are grouped together, that's why it's together. I want the inside of those to be a different color. So I'm going to come to make sure that my fill box is up top. And I'm going to change the color of that. Let me change it to a light blue. See, now when I change it in here, from here, it'll change all of them in the pattern. So let me do that to all of them. Let me click on this one, change it to there. Click on this one, change it to there. And this one, change it to there. So now I have it. And I do want to, when I'm making my swatch, I do want to come up here and say done. Otherwise it won't save it for you. So I'm going to say done. So it's going to save that swatch for me. So now when I make, see, it's going to do that swatch for me. I do want it to be smaller. So remember, I've got to come here. I've got to make sure I'm on the swatch. I'm going to go to Object, Transform, and Scale. And make sure just the pattern's transformed. Ooh, see? Ooh, I like that. And this is the brick. You see how it's offset? So it's the brick. And I'm going to say, I like that one. I'm going to say okay. Okay? So now I'm going to take this. Now this is how it's going to work. I've opened up, oh, there's one that I played with already. And see, I have the pattern behind me. But I'm going to show you how to get it on yours. So you have yours. Let's pretend this is done. This is yours. It's a finished one. And so now I have both tabs. Remember the document tabs? That was a vocabulary word, these document tabs. So see, I have 3 documents open right now. So here's where my swatch is. So I'm going to grab this swatch that I just made, this rectangle that I just made. I'm going to grab it with my mouse, hold down. I'm going to bring it up to that document tab, and then I'm going to drag it down and drop it. So now it's in the swatches of my pin tool portrait. So let me bring this up here. I do want it, see when I'm doing this, so here again, if I decide I want that to be smaller, if I want that pattern to be smaller, I'm going to double click on it. Double click on the pattern. Bring that up. And I'm going to say I want the same width. That's not what I wanted. I want to do it by the scale. See, I almost screwed up. So I want this one. I'm going to go up to Object, Transform, and Scale. Because I wanted a smaller scale. Ooh, now it went to 30%. Make sure that you don't have the object on there, that I just have the transform patterns. So that way just the patterns go smaller. So now also it's in front of my face, so I've got to go to my layers palette. Got to go to the layers palette and put it underneath my face. So I've got to unlock my face layer. Or I just got to put it below my face layer. So drag it below. There, now it's below my face. Now, once you get to this point, if you've done just a black and white version of your face and you don't want that pattern showing through your face, then you're going to have to bring up your picture again, and you're going to have to trace over that with white or a different color. You can do a skin tone color if you want, and you want to put it underneath. Otherwise, that pattern's going to show through. So think about that as you're doing this. You may want to kind of redo your pen tool portrait. Another thing is you may want a color behind your pattern. Right now the pattern is just got a white background, but let's say I want a color behind that background even. So what you're going to have to do is make another rectangle. Let's get off the pattern. Another rectangle. And let's see what color is going to look good behind it. Maybe a dark blue. Let's see. That looks black. Let's go with that one. I'm going to say okay. We're going to see. If I don't like it, I'll just delete it. Remember, I got to send it to the back because it's up top. So arrange, send to back. Ooh, that's almost kind of cool. But I would definitely want to fill in my face so that the pattern doesn't show through my face. So anyway, that is your seamless pattern.